Welcome back to Let's Play Battlefield 1942, and we've got the Battle of Britain coming up on another bonus episode. There's just so many different ways to play this map, especially given the fact that it's just all airplanes and bombing targets. Yeah, I'll go as an engineer. I may get the opportunity to base camp one of the radar towers with expacks, which is always something fun to do. I think another thing I'd like to do on this round is do a little bit more shooting down enemy airplanes. Of course, I'm on the German side, so there's probably only going to be a limited number of hostile Spitfires. If you're on the Allied side, you're guaranteed lots of aerial targets. The advantage to doing air versus air on the German side, of course, is that if you do knock out the enemy Spitfires, then there's really not a whole lot the Allies can do, especially in terms of getting around to attacking your main base and things like that. I'm just following this guy over here. He seems to know what he's doing. He knew enough to bypass that first radar tower. Yeah, I guess he's going after this guy too. Often if you just fly around the radar towers, the guys doing the radar towers are really focused on what's going on over water. Okay, clearly I had not been leading my targets enough, and that guy jumped out of his plane. This is why so many times you'll see when people bail out of a plane, the person who shot down the plane will complain in the chat, call him a bailer, as if that's a bad thing. How dare you deprive me of the kill that I earned, and so forth. And that guy just crashed into the ground. But yeah, I guess it's an effective strategy if you want to look at it as a strategy to harass people in the chat and complain about the fact that they bailed out. It does often work. People, sometimes I will see them just stay in their plane and get shot down as some kind of weird Battlefield 1942 pilot code of honor that they want to give each other kills. Of course, if the pilots really wanted to rack up kills and have a tacit agreement with each other, what they should do is just avoid each other and focus on killing land targets. That way the planes wouldn't be able to be shot down by anybody. They just rack up the kills. But at any rate, I guess technically you could say that anything that changes the behavior of the other player is a legitimate strategy. But since they're probably not thinking it's actually going to be used in that way, they're not thinking in manipulative terms, they're just complaining and whining. I just generally think of them as whiners as opposed to strategists using propaganda in the chat. And again, notice how little flak there is, and I'm trying to avoid the radar towers to a certain extent, just staying well behind them. But you just really notice how, and there's a guy, I guess I got credit for that kill even though he crashed. Yeah, there's an example of whining in the chat that's probably not going to alter the person's behavior, except maybe to make them focus on killing that same person again. But if you circle around the factory early on in the round, they usually don't have those flak guns manned. And if they do, you can usually knock them out pretty quickly. But that's why it's, I mean, look how open this is. You can just roll in there with a couple of bomber planes and just knock out the factory so easily. Another thing it does, if you kill these planes as they come out of the hangar, it's really, really frustrating for the enemy. I mean, think about how there are no spawn points at these hangars. They spawn in at the factory or maybe at one of the radar towers. They then have to take a jeep or take a long walk all the way over to the hangar, and then by the time they finally get in the hangar and roll out, they get shot down, and then repeat that a couple of times, and they're just not even going to bother to go up in the air after that. Also, note the empty icons. Empty radar towers have an icon, which is a really nice hint to the Axis that you can bomb that particular objective without fearing any kind of reprisal. This is an interesting way to booby trap a Spitfire. Just put it on the tail fin there. You can also put it on the wing, or actually on the tires would probably be even better. And I'll just, hopefully this, yeah, I'll just take this plane and leave the other one booby trapped. Okay, the thing about booby trapping these planes, I was going to take this plane out after defusing the mine, but if you see these Germans are coming over here, they're going to take the planes, so I'm not going to get the humorous kill from having an ally go over to the airplane. See, normally you've got, I guess the British were too frustrated, they weren't making it. A lot of Germans, I guess, getting, and I'm surprised, I thought I was going to get a team kill from that landmine on the other plane, but the guy jumped out. He must have seen the little skull and crossbones icon that pops up. Even when they're just pulling off of the airstrip, you still have to lead targets on these planes a good degree. That guy may have been attempting to cross the ocean there and attack the German main base, or he may have just been trying to get clear and then move around when it was safe. The factory's still up, but you can see the extra smoke in the middle there indicates that we've done a good deal of bombing damage, and unless they do a ton of repairing, which I doubt they will, then that factory is going to be gone and we're guaranteed a win. Even though this round looks like it's going to take longer than normal. I mean, I've seen rounds that have ended by this point already. That bunker over there represents a radar tower which has already been destroyed and probably didn't even make a difference. I'm really not... Oh, that's a good shot of the smokestacks falling off as they do right after the factory's been destroyed. But there was just so little flak. I mean, I presume all the people who wanted to do anti-aircraft guns were in those radar towers, but you can't protect the factory from those radar towers. It's just too far away. Stay tuned for part 2.